broker would say, want your information. Who are you? Maybe what company are you with? Or what are you looking for? Or trying to sell me on it. This guy was just done. He was just done with it. And right there, I knew he was the owner. I knew he was the owner. And I said to him, well, it's vacant. I said, you're sitting on the property. I said, you're obviously motivated to sell this thing. I said, are you a broker or are you an owner? He said, both. I said, okay. I said, so you're the owner of record? And he said, yeah. And I said, look. And then because he was being so short with me, I just wanted to get off the phone with him. I wasn't enjoying myself on the phone. So at this point, I was going to spice it up. I turned up the volume. And I said, look, sir, I'm not here to waste your time. I'm either interested in the building or I'm not interested in the building. I was actually driving down the freeway, and I took time to call you, and I'm asking you some questions on the building. So if it's something that you're really motivated to sell, I can talk to you about it, but we're looking to actively pursue property. And this is what I did. We're going to talk about this later. I used a resort to the higher authority approach. I took myself right out of the hot seat. I didn't want to let him know that I was the principal. So I said, look, I work with a national firm. What we look to do is purchase mismanaged, distressed property. And this one obviously meets the criteria, don't you think? The guy starts laughing. Now he's my best friend. Well, what happened was, I couldn't shut the guy up. I'm sitting here holding the phone, enjoying the weather, looking out the window, and the guy next to me is laughing. And the guy's sitting there telling me all about this building, about how he bought it at an auction. He thought he had a clear exit strategy. His partners ditched him, didn't want to do the deal. They miscalculated their exit strategy on expenses to get it leased up. And now the guy's trying to sell me on turning it into a senior living facility. And I said, well, what is it all about? You know, how much do you owe? And he goes, well, the value on it right now is $12 million. We got an appraisal. And I took a loan out on it for $6 million to acquire financing. So I owe $6 million, it's worth $12 million, was basic numbers. So it's 50 cents on the dollar. But at the end of the day, it was going to take a good $7 to $10 million to put into that thing to make it happen. It was like a no-brainer. I was done on the call. But it was one of those things where you never know what kind of a rock you can kick if you just get out of your comfort zone. Do you guys understand that? Yeah. Getting out of your comfort zone is making the call. What's the worst thing that guy could have said? He could have continued being rude and said, you know what, actually, I just realized that because it's vacant, and it's not operating, and there's no income on it, right? Well, I'm not interested. And I could have just got off the phone. But at the end of the day, you never know what kind of relationship is going to unfold if you just continue to think out of the box and get creative. That guy was all over me. He was all over me on that call, and he asked me I star 67, so he didn't get my number. He must have asked me for my number a dozen times. And I told him, I said, look, I just wrote down your email address. I'll send you information on my firm. If we're interested, we'll move forward. But that guy, he wanted me so bad because he knew that I knew that the project would only work if it followed my criteria. And even if he was willing to just give it to me. I mean, just hand it to me. Hand me the keys. Just make it happen. Take the thing. Help me. For that particular deal, too much capital. It's kind of like the one project we talked up here with Doug. There's just a little bit too much capital to move in. It's not low-hanging fruit. Focus on the low-hanging fruit. Don't fall in love with any deal. And that deal looked good. It was sitting there and it looked good. There's a heck of a lot more deals out there that look a heck of a lot better. You guys follow? Yeah. So it's really, really important. So be careful with the healthcare. Don't fall into a trap. We're not here to do development. We're here to go ahead and take existing structures and turn them to their highest and best use. But it's not a guessing game. We don't need to put in a bunch of capital. All right? We don't need to go and invest a bunch of time and a bunch of money to try to make something happen. All right? That's very, very important. I want you guys to get. All righty? So, with that said, a common exit strategy for hospitals is to convert them to schools, training centers, or even adult congregate living facilities. Okay? That's the way that works. Now, office retail is another one. Retail properties come in all shapes and sizes, from big box to small box to strip malls to rundown shopping centers. Nobody knows what to do with. All right? At the end of the day, nobody knows what to do with these. So, what we want to do is we want to stay away from office retail. Office retail really is not where it's at for us. Okay? We want to stay away from these. Now here's raw land. Raw land. Raw land is one of these things where it's really sexy for a lot of people. A lot of people really like it. But the key is to take dirt, change the use, change its value, and create something out of it. That's what we want to do. Again, like I said before, buy it by the quart, sell it by the shot. All right? There it is. All it takes is to sell it by the shot is to hire an engineer to take and divide a map. It's just a paper process. You simply divide the paper process, and you go ahead and sell the paper. All right? Divide it into small pieces, buy residential, commercial, or mixed use, and sell it off. And this isn't you selling it. You're not out there advertising on Craigslist to try to sell this stuff. You know, it's really important for you to understand that what it takes is just to get it going and to get it out. And you hire the professionals, let them do what they do best. You focus on what you do best. It's easy to increase the value of dirt because once approved for its highest and best use, it automatically increases the value several times over. And you just can't do that with buildings. Okay? You just can't do that with buildings. All right. And here's mobile home parks. They're great for cash flow. The tenants who occupy drag their houses on, so it's easy to collect the rent. Okay? It's easy to collect the rent. When you buy mobile home parks, you're buying the land with utilities on it, and you're renting it out by the pad. Therefore, it's like renting an apartment without the apartment to maintain. Right? Simple. It's very easy to get seller financing on mobile home parks, not mobile homes, mobile home parks. All right. So with that said, I'm going to talk about recession-proof properties because I want you guys to get recession-proof properties. Okay? Now, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I'm not a trust fund kid. I grew up in the inner city in a place that's not so nice. And being self-made is a great thing, but I want you guys to get it that when people lose their homes, what do they transfer right into? What do they go right into? Apartments. Yeah, for obvious reasons. Now what happens when people move into apartments? They're in apartments for a while, and they have stuff. They accumulate more stuff and need a place to put that stuff. Where do they put the stuff? Self-storage. That's why self-storage is recession-proof. Okay? People grow older in age. We all do. It's inevitable. I see a large age gap here as well. And what happens there is assisted living. It's nothing more than living with assistance. That's how that works. And assisted living, you're very, very disconnected to the property. You're very disconnected to the property because these properties for assisted living, they're all ran by professionals.